Hi, I'm Martin Rust with the Security and Policy Institute for Professional Development here at the University of Ottawa. My guest this afternoon is Sheila Fitzpatrick. Sheila is the Worldwide Data Governance and Privacy Counsel with NetApp, a significant technology company doing business with the federal government. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
We're talking about security and privacy of information and the kinds of information that organizations collect, not just the government, but some of the major stores and retailers that we deal with on a regular basis, and what kinds of information they might have. In the news recently, there's lots about some class action lawsuits with some high-profile retailers. And I just wondered if you wanted to comment on any of those, and are there things we should be concerned about here in Canada?
Yeah, well, everybody's heard about the recent lawsuits, certainly with Home Depot and Target, and we had a medical insurance company provider that also had a major breach. And it's happening more and more. So cybersecurity is certainly becoming one of the biggest issues that people are concerned about. And as a consumer, you know, whether you're in Canada or you're in the States where the breach has actually occurred, as a Canadian, you can be impacted if you do business with those organizations. And one of the things that people need to start paying attention to is, you know, when you're doing business with a company, you need to understand, again, if you're using your credit card, you know, what's their security profile in terms of, do they encrypt your data when they're capturing it in their card readers? Is it their card reader? Is it a third party? What data are they sharing? What data can they get about you if it's your Visa card or it's your, say Target, for instance, Target had their own credit card. So in that case, they have your financial information. They'll have your name, they'll have your address, you'll have your birth date, they might have your national identification or social security number, because you have to provide all that information in order to open a credit card. So all of that information was breached. And where the concern comes about is, who has that data? Who did the breach? You know, was it the Chinese? Was it the Russians? Was it a hacker in the States that got that data? And so you start to, you know, companies have to start monitoring some of the websites where the breach data is often posted. Companies have to come up with mitigation plans and remediation plans in terms of, what are you going to do for me if my data is breached? You know, are you going to offer me a year of credit reporting? Well, that's not going to do me any good if somebody's out there using my social security number and opening up credit cards. So it is something to be concerned about, and understanding, you know, I tell everyone, before you open any kind of credit card, ask the questions. What are you doing with my data? How are you going to secure my data? Who are you going to share my data with? And you can find that out too when all of a sudden you're getting marketing information from a partner company of, say, a Target or a Home Depot, because obviously they're sharing your data. And part of it becomes the consumer's responsibility to ask the questions. How are you going to protect my data? Not from a security, but from a data privacy perspective.
So I'm hearing that more often, that more and more of an emphasis and an onus is on the individuals to be very diligent about protecting the privacy of their information and what kind of information they turn over to various organizations, including governments. Policymakers are going to be hit with these questions, I'm sure, as the federal election rolls closer. It's not that far away now. And consumers are voters who are asking these questions on the doorstep. What are one or two things that the policymakers need to consider and lawmakers need to consider?
Well, I think they need to, one of the biggest things they need to consider is, what data do you really need in order to manage whatever the relationship is? Oftentimes, organizations, whether it's the government, whether it's a retail environment, whether it's your employer, they ask for more data than what they actually need. If you can get by with statistical or analytical data, that's what you need to use. You don't need to get down to the person level. Obviously, there's certain information you absolutely have to have in order, whether it's an employment relationship or, again, talking about the government for taxation. You're going to need your social security number, your national identification number, your birth date. But beyond that, and your name, what do you really need? So take a step back. The least amount of data that you need is the amount of data you should be collecting. And you can't share that data. If you're sharing it, understand why you're sharing it, what it's going to be used for, and be transparent with the citizens and the individuals in terms of who you're sharing their data with. They have a right to know. People want transparency. If they know what you're doing with their data, they're more apt to give you consent to collect it. When you're sort of doing it behind the scenes and secretive, even though you don't mean to be secretive, that's when people start asking questions. And that's when they don't trust.
and therein lies the basis of the whole relationship.
Exactly.
Great, thank you. I'm Martin Rust with the Security and Policy Institute for Professional Development here at the University of Ottawa. My guest this afternoon is Sheila Fitzpatrick, who's the Worldwide Data Governance and Privacy Counsel with NetApp. Thank you very much.
Thank you.